Welcome to life. The church of love, faith, and commitment. Welcome to life. The church of love, faith, and commitment. Welcome to life. The church of love, faith, and commitment. Welcome to life. Oh, bow down and worship Him. Worship Him. Worship Him. Oh, worship Him. Bow down and worship Him. Enter in. Oh, enter in. It's like a consuming fire. Consuming fire. His awesome presence. What does it do, church? It fills this room. Because this is holy ground. This is holy ground. This is holy ground. This is holy ground. So come and bow down. Oh Lord, we worship. Lord, we worship you today. Lord, we worship you today. Come on, let's go back to the top. Bow down and worship. Bow down and worship Him. Worship Him. Oh, worship Him. Oh, worship Him. Come on, lift your voice. Bow down. Bow down and worship Him. Enter in. It's a consuming fire. Lift your voice. Consuming fire. His awesome presence. It fills this room. This is holy ground. So come and bow down. Now just for a few minutes, I just want you to worship the Lord. Give Him your best. Give Him your best. I praise Your name. I praise Your name. I praise You. Lord, we lift You. Lord, we lift You. Men have given us the account of the life of Jesus. 4 men have vouchsafed to us His life. You know them: Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. The first 3 of those are very similar in nature. in style and what they wrote about concerning the life of Jesus. Some have suggested erroneously that there are 4 gospels. That is inaccurate. There's one gospel told by 4 different men. The first 3 are very similar. The 4th is dissimilar. It's unlike the first 3. Interestingly enough, although it is the shortest of the gospels, Mark is probably the gospel on which Matthew and Luke were based. Mark was not a disciple of Jesus the Christ. He was a disciple of Peter. And very likely, as Peter preached, he wrote down the things that he said. It has been suggested that Mark may be the closest thing we have to an eyewitness account of the life and sayings of Jesus. One of the features that you discover in Mark 2 is its swiftness. Matthew wrote his gospel for the Jews and Luke for the Greeks. But Mark wrote his gospel for the Romans. And he wanted to move quickly to make his case, to settle his argument about this Jewish Messiah. So there's a lot of details you do not find in Mark because they were not significant. They were not germane to what he was trying to say. So you read the book of Mark, and there's a rapidity to it, there's a rapidness. He seems to be in a hurry. Over and over again, you read him saying, straightway, immediately, straightway. It's like you and I. We live by cell phones and faxes and quicks. We want things quick, fast, and in a hurry. The microwave for a minute is too long for us. So Mark is writing with that background in mind. And if you read just the first 5 chapters, he's in a hurry. Dora Greenwell, a novelist of another generation, said that Mark was her favorite gospel because Jesus came so quickly face to face with human suffering in the gospel of Mark. We're in the 5th chapter. And already in chapter 1, he's healed a leper, a paralytic, a man with a withered hand, cast out a demon, a woman with an issue of blood, and a dead girl. 5 miracles in the first 5 chapters. He's in a hurry. And this particular text from which I preached this morning, I don't want to unravel or dig into the specifics of the story. I'm looking after something else, if you let me. First of all, what I'm after is that specific word Jesus spoke. Now, just as that background goes, there was the woman who had a bleeding condition for 12 years. Isn't it strange that there was also a dead girl or sick girl at 12? Use your imagination. 12 years ago, they passed each other in the hospital. One couple coming out with a beautiful baby girl. A woman going in to find out she had a bleeding condition. So now the child is 12. She has been going through this for 12 years, and some disease has attacked her body. This woman decides to break all tradition. She goes and she touches the hem of his garment in a crowd she was not supposed to be in. And something happened. She yanked the bottom of his robe, and he stopped and said, "Who touched me?" The disciples thought this was incredulous. "What do you mean, who touched you?" "All the people around you." He said, "But no, I didn't say somebody bumped into me. I didn't say somebody grabbed my coat. Somebody pulled the virtue out of my body." My beloved, there are 2 kinds of people at church: those who go to church and those who touch Jesus. I can't come to church for show. I can't come to church for outside fashion. I need to pull something out of him to change my life. And Jesus stopped and said, "Who was it?" May I play with the text? And I'm not moving till I find out somebody just pulled something out of me. And fearful, the woman stepped forward and said, "It was me, Lord." He said, "Daughter, your faith has made you well." But that wasn't the incident. Jairus had come to him asking him to go and heal his child. Can you imagine? He's standing there saying, "I'm glad sister girl got healed, but Master, please, we need to get to the house." Have you ever had a situation in your life you needed the Lord to hurry up? And it seemed like he was either taking his time or not doing anything at all? Master, I'm glad she got healed, but my daughter, and every parent in here knows what I know. The sickness of your child doesn't make them sick. It makes you sick. A sick child is hard on the parents. And if you're like me, you'd say, "I'd rather bear it for them." We love our children. Now the man is standing there, and someone comes up and whispers to him the news he did not want to hear, the thing he was most afraid of. He went to Jesus in the first place. And they said, "Trouble the master no more. She just passed. Trouble the master no more. It's over. Let him go his way. She did die. The doctor pronounced her dead a few minutes ago." So get the meaning of what they said. Leave Jesus alone. It's over. You're going to get that in a minute. See, the problem is he's not just the master. He's the healer. He's the deliverer. He's not just the rabbi, the teacher. He's got the power. They gave him bad advice. They said, "She's dead, so you no longer need Jesus." That's when you need Jesus. Jesus overheard what they said. I like the fact that he overhears our conversations. And he doesn't have to wiretap either. I shouldn't say that. He overheard. And when he overheard, he said, may I update the text again? Ignore them and listen to me. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to determine whether you make it or not. It's whether you are willing to ignore them and listen to Jesus. You don't ignore them because what they said is wrong. She was dead. Oh my God. See, that's where this faith thing gets mixed up. See, you got to know what to ignore and what to believe. I didn't say she wasn't dead, but you got to ignore the report if the Lord is there. He said, ignore them and listen to me. Never mind what they told you. She might be dead, but I'm here. Let's talk about death for a moment. When God created man, according to the Genesis account, he spoke everything else into existence. But you get the impression that when he made man, he got into a personal project. Let us make man. And with the finger of divinity, he drew in the mud, in the clay, a physical image of his divine invisibility. And then, but wait a minute though. Eyes, ears, hands, nose, mouth, lungs, heart, kidneys, bladder, knees, whatever. But it was a corpse. There was no life in it. It was lying there, dead, until he breathed. First time God saw a man, he had hands that didn't move, eyes that didn't see. But when he breathed, man sat up, and the same God that spoke life into dead man from the beginning can speak life into your situation. whole lot of stuff in my life and your life is dead. A whole lot of stuff has died. Dreams have died, and hopes have died, and aspirations have died, and visions have died. Relationships have died, and marriages have died, and some churches seem to be dying, and you wonder, is there any hope? And somebody's whispering in your ear, oh, you can give up now, it's dead. You can give up hope now. What's that old saying? The old saying goes, where there's life, there's hope. But if there's no more life, there's no more hope, unless you're talking about God. With God, there's hope even on the other side of death. And he said, listen, she might be dead, but you don't know who you're fooling with. She might be dead, but I'm the one that brought life in the first place. She might be dead, but if I breathe on her like I breathed on Adam, she'll come back. And I want to prophesy some stuff in your life. It may be dead, but if you'll believe, it's coming back. Some stuff in your life, your heart is broken and you're disappointed and you're ready to have the funeral. Cancel the funeral. It ain't over yet. He said, only believe. Believe what? She's dead. So what? Only believe. And that's what you've got to do. Believe. Let's talk about that for a second or two. Listen to me. It doesn't make sense to believe something that's believable. That doesn't make sense. That's not faith. Faith is not something you already have. And let me argue probability. Even if there's a probability of the circumstances working out, that doesn't take faith. If it's a pretty good chance, faith says when it's over, when it's dead, when it can't happen, when it's impossible. You can use all the algorithm and logarithm and calculus. When you can't figure it out and it can't work and it's impossible, shut down, over, dead, finished, kaput, fini, goodbye. That's when God says, then you believe. Faith is saying, I'm going to believe when people are shaking their heads at me saying, you must be losing your mind. Faith is when somebody wants you to be committed because they think you're no longer in touch with reality. Well, there are two realities. It's the reality of what I see, and it is the reality of faith. And faith has a way of creating a reality that this world knows nothing about. If you're just going to live in this world, shame on you. But you have the power by faith to reach into another world and pull a new reality. Only believe. I know she's dead, but you don't know who you're fooling with. Just let me walk in the room. And I'm asking the Lord today to walk in the room of your situation and speak to what's dead. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to stop limiting your faith. Let faith think outside the box. Stop limiting your mind to what you can see or feel. Stop living by the flesh. We are so flesh bound. Benjamin Idahosa is dead now. But Bishop Idahosa was asked once, why don't the miracles happen in America that happen in Africa? And he said, you Americans are too rich. I don't care what you say. We talk faith, but we believe in what we got. Don't look at me in that tone of voice. See, that's why when you tell folks to tithe, they're like, what you mean tithe, Reverend? I make 6 figures. Give. Americans don't realize it. We believe in our stuff. I mean, I love God, but you do know I have a job. I have a 401k and I have a car newer than your car, better than your car. So what's all of this? And we let our scientific materialism and empiricism in this country stop us from believing. Sean and I were talking to a pastor from Africa. He was here in this church. And he said, I went to Houston. I'm very upset. I'm like, oh, what happened? He said, I go to Houston. I'm very upset. I said, why? He said, I go to church. They call it mega church. It seats 5,000 people. He said, no. He said, in Africa, mega church, 85,000 people. 110,000 people. And they walk to church. They walk 10 miles to church. He said, 5,000 people, that's the Ministerial Alliance. But you see, in Africa, they don't have all we have. They don't have Visa and MasterCard and jobs and telephones, that GPS and all of that. So all they can do is depend on God. So you and I depend on God to a point. Faith says when it's crazy, unbelievable, doesn't make sense, illogical, irrational, unscientific, that's when you move out of the flesh. How do we get to exceeding abundantly above all that we can ask or think? It's when we allow our faith to become the key to it all. And that faith is available to all of you. I have a young lady back here who is a medical doctor. Stand up, Dr. Joseph. That child's a doctor, an MD, real doctor. Now, I don't have many more doctors here, MDs or PhDs. You may not have a medical doctorate, but the faith I'm talking about is available to everyone here. Let me ask you a question. Show me in this book where God says, well, I don't want you to have that much faith. And that's not supposed to work for you. This book was given to you so you would know what's yours. And the devil wants you to keep this book closed and keep you out of Bible study because he wants you ignorant to what belongs to you. Faith will move mountains, and faith will stop storms, and faith will bring healing when the doctor walks out the door. Faith will bring down strongholds. Faith will stop the devil in his track. Faith will pay your bills. Faith will keep the enemy off of you. And when you walk in the faith, nothing can stop you. I wish I could get that in your spirit. No demon, no devil, no loser, no liar. Nothing can stop you when you walk in the faith of God. And you say, never mind what I see and what I feel. Let me teach this and I'm done. You're going to learn you're not going to defeat stuff in the flesh. Aren't you tired of trying to out-cuss folks? They can out-cuss you. You plot and you scheme. Other folks can plot and scheme. You lie. Other folks can lie. You dig ditches. Other folks can dig ditches. Why don't you do something they can't do? Why don't you walk in the faith of God? And why don't you use the power that's yours that they can't do? You've got power. Why don't you use it? The Bible says the weapons. Has anybody told you had weapons? Why do we want to act like Christianity is some weak thing? The weapons. We are in a warfare. Of our warfare, look at that word carnal. That word means fleshly. The weapons of our warfare are not fleshly, but look at this. Mighty. Somebody say mighty weapons. Say, I have mighty weapons. They're mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds. You know what a stronghold is? A stronghold. Okay, it's like a military base. It's a military installation. We have the power to pull down the strongholds of the enemy. Wait a minute. Where are those strongholds? Read the book. Casting down. There it is. Right there. There it is. Imagination. The battle is in your mind. The battle is in your mind. Success or failure is in your mind. Greatness or failure is in your mind. It's in the mind. It's in the imagination. Albert Einstein said, imagination is more important than knowledge. I wish you got what I just said. And the devil gets in our imaginations, especially when something is not going right. All right? And every high thing, watch this, that exalts itself against the knowledge of God. Wait a minute, wait a minute. What the devil wants to do, read the book, is exalt himself in your imagination against the knowledge of God. That's why you need the knowledge of God. The first thing the devil said in the Bible was, yea, hath God said. The first thing the devil did in the Bible was to question the Bible. Did God really say? He was playing with her imagination. So watch this. So they said, "Psst, don't trouble the master anymore. Stay right there. Your daughter is dead." So in his imagination, he saw the child being dead. What Jesus did, he rearranged his imagination. Every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, watch this, and bringing into captivity. In other words, you arrest it, you bring it down. Every thought to the obedience of Christ. In other words, if God didn't say it, arrest it. If God didn't say it, put it down. If God didn't say it, throw it in jail. If God didn't say it, stand against it. If God didn't say it, call it a lie. Let God be true and every man a liar. If God didn't say it, say to hell with it. I mean that literally. If God didn't say it, I don't believe it. I believe what God said. I walk by faith and not by sight. It's what God says. It's what God says. He said, never mind what they just said. You believe. And that same day, he got his child back. So you have to decide in your imagination, what are you going to believe? What you see, what you feel, what may be before you, your past, your mistakes. Some of y'all love that. Well, my past, my past. Your past is your past, baby. What are you going to believe? And the victory is when you say, I believe God and not this.
So if you are ready for your transformation, say this prayer with me.
I confess that Jesus Christ is Lord. I believe in my heart he arose from the dead. Now by faith and according to your word, I receive the gift of salvation, the forgiveness of sin, and everlasting life. Thank you, Lord, for saving me. In Jesus' name, amen.
My friend, you now have new life in Jesus Christ. Welcome to the family. Join us for Resurrection 2017, held here at the LCC Family Life Center. On April 16th, our sunrise celebration will commence at 5 a.m. Our resurrection celebrations will be at 7 and 10 a.m. You don't want to miss this powerful time of praise, worship, and the Word. Resurrection 2017. Bring someone